Okay, y'all. First of all, if you're watching this and you're not aware, because other countries and depending on where you live are different, right? We moved our clocks forward this weekend, so keep that in mind. 1 hour forward. So anyway, the SPY, interesting day on Friday for sure because we took out the 200 day. We were solidly below the 200 day and then had a really nice reversal and a pretty solid close. So maybe a short-term bottom is in, but who knows, man? It's such a headline-driven market that you always want to, have your news squawks going and be aware of what's going on out there. So keep that in mind, all right? But so far, this could be a short-term bottom with that 200-day having held nicely on Friday. Let's really quick show this. The gist of it is, pause the video and read it if you haven't read it, but the gist of it is we're day traders, but I always want to start, I make my money between the opening and closing bell, but I always want to start with a list of stocks that could make interesting moves, and then I play the intraday setups. All right, there you go. PSTV. There is no chart setup here. You had this crazy move, then you had the gap up and reversal, and a lot of times this happens. It closed about where it closed the previous day, a little bit above it. But what's the conclusion is this is absolutely an in-play stock and might yield a great setup tomorrow, right? So it makes the list. OKTA, which basically short explanation is I don't always find stuff that's on the verge of a breakout. I just want to be on looking at the stuff that are in play. And it's certainly nice to find a daily cup and handle chart or something too, but just, keep that in mind. Anyway, OKTA, certainly in play, had a huge 2-day breakout, kind of rolled back over, but green on Friday. We definitely want to keep our eyes on that one, very strong. KSS, which I think has earnings coming up this week, but don't quote me on that, I have to double check. But nice volume and a pretty strong move out of some support from the past week. Maybe we'll get a follow-through day there. DWTX, interesting in that back here it had this massive run, almost round-tripped, and all of a sudden out of the blue gets a big pop on Friday. So I want to watch it, but what bothers me is I couldn't find any news, and that always feels like, okay, then it's a pump, and who knows what's going to happen now. But there may be news that I'm just not aware of, right? So keep that in mind. TUYA, nice pop on Friday and a strong close. We'll keep our eyes on that one. XNET. Speaking of nobody could figure out news, I remember on this day when it gapped up, nobody could figure out news. It had a huge run in pre-market. But you know what? It's curling back up near those highs. So I think it should be on watch. It's kind of a sleeper pick, but let's have that on the chart. Dell, pretty close to hitting these recent lows. I'll put the line there on Friday. And certainly oversold. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, this was in the 120s. And now it's down here at 91.46. I think it's a decent setup for a potential bounce this week or Monday, or we'll see. ORGO bounced right here after the first 2-day pullback, a little pop, and bounced there again. So we're at support after a recent pop. We want to watch that one. GRRR, 2 days in a row down after the short report, and Citron piling on the short report from the bear cave that same day. It had a couple day sell-off, but either way, this was over $44 and now closed at 28 something. I do want to watch that one for a potential intraday bounce setup that we teach. CDXC, big breakout, couple days lower, kind of closed about where it opened on Friday. Also worth noting that it topped at the hole number 8 on Friday. That could become relevant this week. Let's keep our eyes on that one. And then MRVL kind of had a little bit of a bottoming tail after that big gap down on earnings. And I put the horizontal line there. Almost got to that. I don't know. This is oversold, just looking for a snapback bounce. We'll see, right? Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys in the chat room on Monday morning. Have a good rest of your weekend.